You should be fine. You don't have to do anything.
Okay.
I really appreciate, thank you so much, Scott. The first thing I just want to say is I've had a chance to present to all of you what I do for Mass Resistance. I was able to do that 2 years ago. And there's some new faces too. It's good to see you, Rochelle. I mean, you're a friendly face, but it's good to see you here this morning. I just want to say this right now. I was like, when it came to this LGBT stuff, I was a very live and let live type. As early, as far back as 2013. I didn't even see this documentary. And I spoke to people in New England where you see how this stuff became entrenched. And they lectured me and they said, "Oh, Arthur, you don't understand.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair."
This stuff is in the classroom, it's in the schools, they're teaching kids they could be gay. And I was like, what? I mean, this was unheard of. And I'm in California, how liberal it is here. It didn't even touch us then, right? And little by little, you see the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker being persecuted because they won't celebrate these behaviors. It was a little further back, thank God for TBN, the Trinity Broadcasting Network. They were also paying attention to this. All the way back to 2003, you had a pastor, Oka Green, in Sweden, who was arrested just for preaching against all sexual deviancies, not just homosexuality, all of it. Adultery is wrong, living with somebody you're not married to is wrong, and they arrested him. And I was just really terrible. I was outraged, I was shocked by this, and then I found out about Mass Resistance. And now here I am. I'm now their field director. I was the organization director. I shifted to another office. We have more people now who are working for us. I can't stress enough. Thank you so much, Scott, for sharing this documentary. I don't care if I share it with 2, 5, 100. If I can get one more conservative to understand that this is not going to be solved with live and let live. Those days are over. And I'm not trying to create a rift or division here, but I'm not on the Trump train right now, because he celebrated the Respect for Marriage Act last year in December. And I commend, there were some MAGA supporters outside of Mar-a-Lago and they protested him. And you know what, I would have been there with him. I know it's gonna make some people mad, I was all over for Trump, but this is a hill to die on. I'm not backing down anymore. And I know you're running for US Senate, and I'm gonna reassert, I want a marriage amendment. We need a constitutional amendment. I'm not asking, I'm telling. And we should all be doing that with our House reps, our state senators, everybody. We shouldn't accept homosexuality or transgenderism anymore. The biggest thing especially, the reason I'm a little more dressed up today, you deserve it, but I dressed up for another reason. I was speaking with a group of pro-family activists in Macedonia, Serbia, and Poland this afternoon. This agenda is spreading all over the world. And they want to see, well, what happened in the United States? And so I gave them a summary of what you were allowed to see this afternoon. We can't tolerate this anymore. And I don't want to be tolerant anymore. You can't be tolerant of this stuff. I know that's like, you're going to get in trouble if you say that, but you tolerate the right things. You tolerate differences about what you eat or whether you're a Republican or a Democrat on a general level. This is something we cannot tolerate. I can't stress, look at this. You saw everything that you just saw that happened in Massachusetts. It's happening everywhere. These are my 3 favorite words every time I talk to a conservative group. Told you so. And I can't tell you the amount of crap I got from Republicans because I made a stink about this. In fact, if Claude were here, he'd give you the whole story. When the LA County Central Committee revoked the charter for the Beach City Republicans, in part because I said no to the log cabin Republicans, I said no to LGBT, I said we're not tolerating this. And their answer was to try to deplatform us. Not just me, us. Because the rest of the team, they voted for me to stay on. And I was working with Mass Resistance even then. Why the cancel culture? Because it's all about making a buck or trying to find a job. But if we want to save our country, if we want to save our culture, we have to say no to this. And thanks for giving me a little extra on this. Now we've got homosexual conservatives. I'm sorry, but that's a no. Folks, it isn't conservative. That's an infiltration. You may have gay friends. I'm not saying you don't be friends with them anymore. But you can't normalize this. I have friends who smoke. I have friends who drink too much. I have friends who've done drugs. I don't cast them out. But if they want to have a parade and flaunt this, that's wrong. We can't celebrate it anymore. Part of my discussion with the Eastern European groups, they asked me about Gays Against Groomers. How many of you have heard of that group? Gays Against Groomers. And you know what? They're groomers. They are grooming just at the speed limit. Our organization, we haven't written the final report on this, but they have pornographic sites. They have OnlyFans accounts. They have explicit acts with other males or females on their social media sites. This isn't about protecting kids. It's about normalizing a perversion.
Yes.
And you know what? I came in, I was pretty histrionic 2 years ago. I'm a lot more serious about this. And I really do feel we are finally seeing the cards collapsing. I feel like this is like 1987. I feel like Ronald Reagan in front of the Brandenburg Gate. Tear down this wall. And I'm saying this about this agenda. It's time to tear it down. And thank you, Scott and Megan, for all that. Megan Moore, she reached out to us for a little help. And Palos Verdes, all of those parents spoke up. I was really proud of that. One beautiful lady, she said, this may be liberal California, but this is enough. And I'm urging you, if you're here in the South Bay, to come to Redondo Beach this Tuesday. We're going to be speaking out against the city council flying that perverse flag as well. Gary did a great job last week. We want to support what he said. And please reach out to me. We need to stop this stuff, whether it's in the schools or everywhere. This was 10 years ago just in Massachusetts, and now it's everywhere. It's time to say enough. We're not making nice with this. We're not accommodating this. It's time to go back in the closet. It's time, and I'll wrap this up. Thank you, Scott. It's time for us to make male and female great again, to make marriage great again, and to make mom and dad great again. Thank you.
Appreciate it.